What is up, Flexers? So today we have a very special guest. I am super excited about today's guest. She is just awesome, to put it plainly. She is professional coach Raquel Hopkins. I can't speak today. Raquel Hopkins, and I'm going to have her on here because she's going to talk to you guys about what professional coaching is and a whole host of other things. So, Ms. Hopkins, will you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you for having me on, Sujuane. I'm really excited about this and your new business ventures. Congratulations to you for launching
Thank
the new
you.
season of your podcast.
Thank
This is
you.
exciting. You're welcome.
Yes.
So, as Sujuane mentioned, I am Raquel Hopkins. I am a professional coach. I always tell people that I've officially been coaching now for about 3 years. And I say officially coaching because my most recent role was vice president of HR for a telecommunications company. And I've decided to leave that position as of August of 2021 so that I can focus on being an entrepreneur, focus on my coaching business full time. I am a mom of a 6-year-old son. I've been married now for 8 years. I'm originally from the Virginia area, and now I reside in the Houston, Texas area now for the last 12 years. I work directly with, I would say, high achieving people, type A personalities. If you've ever uttered the words, what's next? I want more, I'm capable of more, something is missing, and there's still room for me to grow. Those are the people that I work with. So I get a lot of clients that come from me after they've gone through the healing process in coaching. And then I got a lot of, not coaching, I'm sorry, from therapy. And then I get a lot of clients that come from their organizations who are looking to elevate. That's the best way to explain it. So coaching is all about moving you towards the future and different benefits for different people. So, but I don't know. Is that enough, Sujuane?
That's great.
Coaching.
That is great. I'm telling you, I've been so excited to get you on here because I'm telling you, after our session, I literally feel like I could take on the world. So I'm like, I have to share her with my flexors because you have no idea how much you really motivate me. So I just wanted to have you on here just so you can motivate the listeners. And so I guess you have kind of talked a little bit about what professional coaching is. So I don't know if you want to go into greater detail about what it is, I guess, versus therapy. Like, what's the difference between therapy and professional coaching? Because there is a difference.
So let me say about professional coaching first, because you have a lot of coaches out there.
Mm-hmm.
And recently a friend asked the other day, she was saying that I don't even know where to begin to hire a coach. And it makes sense to me because you have a lot of people, like you have coach of Airbnb, coaches of this, coaches of that. Mm-hmm. And the difference is a coach isn't about telling you what to do. I think a lot of people put the label coach onto their titles when they're really operating in the mentor capacity. Like, this is what I've done in order to get here. These are some of the steps that you need to take in order to get here. Mm-hmm. Some into consulting as well. But when you start to get into the realm of professional coaching, and the best way to explain it is, or that I like to explain it is, when we start talking about large organizations that are seeking executive coaches to work with their C-suite or their high potential leaders, they hire professional coaches, and they hire professional coaches because they know that it directly impacts their bottom line and people's overall mental health. So they're trying to figure out, how do we move people from where they are today so that they're able to keep up with the momentum to where we're going in the future. And one of the things, the first thing that I tell people is, if you're going to hire a professional coach, look for somebody that is an ICF certified coach. It's no different from if you're in the world of accounting or HR, there are governing bodies. So I always tell people the international, it's ICF, International Confederate, the International Coaching Federation. Okay. If you're certified through that organization, they have certified professional coach. Ask people about what their training has been. I know personally for me, I did a 9-month training, coach training program. So there are ways to weed out who may not be good, but on the flip side of that too, just because you have credentials too doesn't mean that you're a great coach. So
yeah, that's true.
A therapist, right? Just because a therapist pass the state exam doesn't necessarily mean that they are a great therapist. But I tell people usually that's where to start, because an organization or a large organization, people that are really making impact or growing and developing these leaders, that is kind of like what their bar is.
Okay.
And then you asked me about therapy versus coaching.
I know you're passionate about this. I'm like, I have to.
I am extremely passionate about this therapy versus coaching thing.
Yeah.
No therapy whatsoever. Like, no hit to therapy, because therapy is really changing lives. And I'm going to speak from a personal standpoint, because I also am a product of therapy. However, I am also a person that can be very stubborn. Once I see things a certain way, I can kind of get stuck in that mindset. I can do the whole protecting my peace, protecting my energy thing. And I think that once you've been able to heal, in a sense, be able to talk about your past and gain the awareness in terms of how or who you have become based off of your experiences, I think that the doors start to open up for an opportunity for you to grow. Like, there's a level of accountability that I personally don't think that therapy offers the way that coaching has. And I can say that because in the next year, I can officially say that I will be a therapist. And I noticed the difference in terms of your therapy clients versus your coaching clients. And
right.
Therapy, it can be tricky, right? Because depending on the person, especially the people, I always say the people that are change agents, difference makers, people that are really focused on building legacies, you can always be challenged to do more or to become a better leader. And the best way that I like to explain becoming a better leader is we're all leaders. I always tell people my 6-year-old son is a leader, but it's how well do you lead yourself so that you really do have an impact on other people. And I think that therapy can get you caught up on just focusing on you and your boundaries and kind of like protecting your world. And I think once you step outside of that, it kind of just changes the impact that you have on people. So I always tell people, like, not everybody, I don't think that everybody needs coaching. I think it's like one of those luxury things, like it's cut from a different cloth if you have a professional coach. And you go back to like Steve Jobs, for example, he says that Apple wouldn't be Apple if they didn't have their professional coaches on staff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that it goes, that high up the chain of command, if you will. I didn't just realize like big companies and stuff. You think when you hear about it, you always think it's just like something small or like something that's similar to therapy or like it's like a little cheerleader or something like that. But you don't even realize how far reaching this whole professional coach realm is. So that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I didn't know either. I was just trying to get out of a career that I was in and trying to create different opportunities. And I kind of landed upon it. And when I landed upon it, I was like, my world has expanded in ways that I didn't even know was possible. Already successful, already making well over 6 figures. Like, I didn't really need a change per se. So I didn't even know that my mind could grow the way that it has grown, and possibilities has opened up. And I think that's what coaching is about. It is about challenging your professional beliefs. A lot of us don't challenge our professional beliefs. And I always tell people, because they're like, is it life coaching too? Well, Sujuane would tell you, like, we could be talking about the business one day, and then one day coming there and you're talking about life, because we are whole people. You don't separate those two things. So I always tell people that I am trained to look at it from a life and a business perspective. And the plus is, with having a mental health background, I know where my lane is. Like, I'm not looking to do any harm. Like, if I feel like you're stuck and therapy is really appropriate for you, I'm making that necessary recommendation or referral. But coaching for me all day, like, I am type A, high achiever. What's next? I mean, I can be content, but I'm always thinking about the future and what's next. And when you have so many different ideas, so many responsibilities. It helps with having a venting, not only just a venting board, but a sounding board to where you can make some of your best decisions and some of your best ideas start to come out of it, and a different perspective, an objective perspective. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah, my life has definitely changed, because I know when you say about perspectives, because you already know, when I put my business on here, you already know how I get in my head, I get in my feelings, and then I do appreciate the way that coaching challenges my thought process. And so it pulls me kind of out of that, that woe is me, or that victim mentality sometimes. And it challenges me to kind of think outside the box and don't stay stuck in that victimhood, if that makes sense. So that's
what's victimhood, Sujuane?
Yeah. Well, a really, really, really smart, awesome professional coach told me it's not, you think about it. Let me get it right, so you don't think I wasn't listening. It's not things are happening to me, but things are happening for me. Remember you told me that last time? That literally has stuck in the back of my head. It's like, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. And so I think that is what, I guess, kind of pulls me out that victimhood. The victimhood for me was everything is happening to me. And so coaching has challenging me to now think about, like you were saying, about the opportunities and expanding and getting this point, so
yeah. So, yeah, I love that. What's interesting is what has resonated with you. And I would say, like, the other thing too, a lot of people, when they hear the word victim, I never forget when I first started in this coaching thing, I had told this lady, I was like, well, you kind of have like a victim mentality. I was freshman. I didn't really know how to like acknowledge and validate people at that point. And we kind of got into it a little bit, but then I learned how to explain it, because a lot of people think that victimhood is not taking responsibility for your own life. And it's not about that. Victimhood is about, there's another way to look at it too, when you don't realize that there are so many choices and options available to you. For example, I know that this podcast is about helping business owners get started and to start their businesses. And a lot of times, before you can even get to that point, we start to feel overwhelmed. We have analysis by paralysis. It can just be a whole lot, right? And usually you start to feel that way once you have checked into that victim space, like, what options are available to me? There's only one way of doing things, or I got to do it this way, or this is necessary. And when you start to get in that mentality, you start to limit yourself, even as an entrepreneur that may already be established, right? It's like, if I don't do it, then who else will do it? And then over time, that drains you within itself, because the weight and the pressure is always on you. And nobody told you that you had to choose entrepreneurship. So I always try to remind my clients, like, you are consciously or sometimes unconsciously choosing to do this. Yeah. And when you step outside of your situation and you realize, like, actually, I don't have to be an entrepreneur. I choose to be an entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur means that life is going to present all of these different opportunities to me in order for me to grow. Like, it's not, it's like you were saying, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And it's our jobs to figure out, like, why is it happening? And I don't know if I shared this with you recently, like, my favorite psychologist or therapist is Viktor Frankl. And he says that as humans, we're always trying to figure out, like, the meaning of life. Which is why everybody's like, find your purpose. You need to walk in your purpose. Like, you know, a lot of people feel guilt now. And it says that the way that we do that is through our work, through love, and through suffering. Nobody wants to experience pain.
No, I don't.
So I was like, no.
I don't. Not ever. Yeah. Like, I was with you till you said suffering. I was like, oh.
No. You're like, no. So part of the process, though, is how we assign meaning. It's where gratitude comes from. It's where your ability to be flexible, stay curious, live in the moment. It's where all of those things come from. But pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
I told y'all she was awesome. Look at that. Look, see, my wheels is. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of us think about suffering as that's synonymous with pain. It's like that's just a part of it, which brings me to my next thing was about how your thoughts affect your business. We're talking about having that victim space. And then, like you said, the suffering, because I know that was the happening to me, type of mentality, because that was something that I've struggled with my businesses, or moving forward in life. And I just want you to kind of help us to understand about how it affects it and the state of mind or the steps we need to take so it doesn't affect it, to get out of that space.
So you want me to talk about the thoughts that you may have as an entrepreneur?
And then just how that negative, because I think like a lot of people don't even realize it, that you have these negative thoughts, or you have these limiting beliefs, if you will, and they show up and you don't even realize that they're, you don't even realize that you have them. And then it's affecting your business and you don't even understand, why is this not going right? Because you have this mindset. And so I know that's some of the stuff that, we've been working on, in our sessions, is about kind of changing my energy. And we'll get into that a little bit, but yeah.
No, the first thing I would say, I always tell people that I coach from not a negative or positive perspective, even though my clients like, that is negative, that is bad. And I'm like, no, it's not. Let's not put a label on it. Let's not put a judgment, because thoughts they're normal, right? And I always tell people, if you want to say even negative thoughts, they serve a purpose. If someone is trying to talk themselves out of becoming an entrepreneur, it is for safety. Maybe a person is doing that because they want to feel safe. Maybe a person doesn't want to necessarily experience failure. And while it all serves a purpose, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's beneficial for the growth of you. And that's the difference. So I always tell people that the thoughts it's not so much about trying to figure out how to counter the negative thoughts. It's about figuring out who you are. What are those limiting beliefs that have created your world? And based off of what has created your world, challenging people to see if it's something that you're really ready to change. Because anything done by force only creates a counter force. And, I always say that, I don't want you to change, your thoughts, and then in 3 weeks later, you're still fighting with the same thoughts because the same situation has presented itself. Let's just take the time and figure out the work that needs to be done. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, you hear a lot of different things, especially when you were talking about the victim mentality. The mentality is centered around, if I don't grind, then, I lose. Only person I can bet on is me. And people don't, why it can be very motivating. And also we end up adding a lot of pressure to ourselves. And that alone is not necessarily sustainable, which is how people end up burning out, or they saying, hey, protect your mental health. And this is kind of off topic a little bit, but since I just used the word mental health, can we figure up mental health versus mental illness? Everybody has mental health. Not everybody has a mental illness. Mental health is as simple as, are you set up to develop in the most optimal way? And when I like to say mental health, for me, in order for me to continue to grow, therapy isn't exactly what I needed. I needed a coach to be able to push me into the next level, to push me into purpose, in a sense, right? So that all contributes to my mental health. And I think a lot of times when people think about mental health, they're just thinking about just well-being. It's no, do you have the resources? Do you have the tools? Do you have the right people in your corner that's going to help take you to the next level? And that looks totally different for everybody. But I always like to make that very clear, because we all have mental health. The people that, if your mental health is still impacted, it's because some people don't have the tools. Some people don't have the resources. People that look like you and I, they don't have the things to be able to develop in the way that they could or should. So I know I got off topic. I love
that's
talking.
Okay. No, I am a huge advocate for, mental health and making sure that you have good mental health and getting help if you need therapy, or a professional coach, and I think for our community, this is Flexing My Melon, we deal with Black issues. And so for our community, a lot of us don't even know about professional coaching. All we know about is therapy, so I just thought it was important to kind of just bring this to our people and let them know, hey, there is another option besides therapy that, you might not want to go to therapy because you might not need therapy. You might need, like you say, a professional coach to push you as opposed to sitting and talking to a therapist. So yeah, that was something that was, I'm so excited about this. So you have gotten me so excited about just life and pushing me and that kind of stuff. And I have not been this excited about like my business ventures and my future in a while. And so I just want to share you with, a little piece of you, because make sure that, you have time for my slides when it's my appointment. But I know another thing in our sessions you talk about our energy levels, and the levels, and because I was like, what in the world is this lady talking about? I was like, okay, if you say so, but you know what? When you started getting into them, I'm like, okay, well, let me think on this level. So can you kind of explain to the people what are the energy levels?
Sure. So I am an energy leadership practitioner, which means that basically there's an assessment that I administer with some of my clients, and some of my clients that don't necessarily need it, I may just introduce them to it. And it's this idea of catabolic energy versus anabolic energy. And the catabolic energy is a tearing down force. And the anabolic energy is a building up force. And try to get my clients to move into a direction that allows more space for that anabolic energy, because that is where creative visionaries, people like the Steve Jobs that go off and create Apples, and at one point they were a small business and now they're a huge, large organization. But it's being able to tap into that space and stay in that space. Not saying that life won't happen, but being able to tap into that space and stay into that space to where you can create something like unexplainable. But let's talk about the catabolic energy in particular, because that's like that level one. It's 7 levels of energy. And it's that level 1 and that level 2 energy where a lot of people tend to live. And I'm going to talk about the level 2 energy mainly because the mindset behind that is by any means necessary. Like, I gotta win. It's focused on winning. And a lot of people, they come to me and they be like, oh, I'm a recovering high performer or something. But really, they're not a high cover. They ain't recovered from anything. They're still trying to figure it out because it's difficult. Like, if you know that this way has gotten you to success, what is another way of working? And a lot of people try to do rest and relaxation and self-care. And those things are just not necessarily sustainable, because collectively that is a part of mental health, right? Like kind of doing all of the things and being able to find that balance. And most of my high achievers or high performers, they be like, well, there's no such thing as balance. Like, things will never be equal. And people don't even realize that is a perception too. Like, balance isn't about, hey, giving this 100% of your time, and then this may only get 5% time. It is the life that you end up creating, and being okay with that. And going back to that option things, a lot of people don't even realize that they have options to make. So we start to rationalize, and that's that level 3 energy, rationalizing and being able to find the silver lining. Well, if I wasn't an entrepreneur, didn't do what I had to do or take the time, then my kids wouldn't be in the schools that they're in. And truth be told, like, the minute that they miss a show or something, they check back down into that level 1 or level 2 energy. Like, they start to feel mom guilt or white or whatever it may be. So it's like this never ending cycle. And I always tell people, if we go back to kind of throwing that therapy in there, I always tell people that, therapy gets you to a point to where you're able to cope. Right? You're able to compromise. You are able to find that silver lining in life so that you can keep on moving. And I always tell people that coaching takes you beyond that, because who wants to live a coping as like,
no, you can cuss. I have a potty mouth. I have a potty mouth.
Okay. Nobody wants to live a life to where you're just coping and constantly having to find the silver lining. And the mentality behind that, Sujuane, is
Yeah.
I win. And if the people around me just so happen to win, that's okay too.
Yeah.
And I try to get my clients to get to a place to where they're creating win-win opportunities. You'd be surprised at how many entrepreneurs or just leaders in general that I see that run away from managing people. I'm like, I ain't got time. And
Yeah.
you probably know what it's like to
Yeah.
work with. It's like working with people and they're like, I don't have
Mm-hmm.
time. They
Mm-hmm.
outsource. Let me get this to HR.
Yep.
And it's usually within those moments, there's an opportunity to grow. There's an
Yeah.
opportunity to grow, but we have found some way to protect our peace and protect our energy that we don't really stretch ourselves as leaders.
Yeah.
So you know, I can go on and on, so
I know.
on. So you're just gonna have to tell me when to stop.
But with the level energies, I know you said that there's an assessment. So if somebody wanted to take an assessment of the energy levels, what does that entail?
Okay, so you take the assessment. I think it takes about 20 minutes to take the assessment. And once you've taken that assessment, results come back to me, and then I send you the results, and then we do a 90-minute session. So I'm a 90-minute debrief going over like your test results. And the thing that I really, because you know my background is in HR.
Right.
A lot of people do like personality tests and strength
Yeah.
tests. I really like this because most of people know their strengths and they know like the areas that they can improve on. A lot of people, this assessment really looks at like your attitude about like life in general. And the
Yeah.
people that usually like,
Yeah.
oh, protect your space and energy is usually people that is projecting out what people will refer to as that bad energy. So I
Right.
like to get a chance to look at that assessment because it's eye opening. And I know for me personally, when I took that assessment, I felt red. I felt
Really?
red. Like, yeah, I really did. I felt red because I now had something tangible to be able to challenge myself. Like whenever I'm not stretching myself per se.
So when you took it, it helped you to, I guess, did it give you more direction or help you to be able to, I guess, be more organized or intentional with, your time or your goals, or did it help with that kind of stuff, or was it just for insight?
I would say for me at this point, like what am I creating from? Am I creating from a by any means necessary lack, especially
Yeah.
for people that look like you and I? There is a lot of pressure to do well and to perform well, and it's not sustainable. And when we talk about not sustainable, it's not sustainable across like a culture of all of us. So it has really forced me to like really look at myself because it's easy to hide from yourself. It's easy to think that your shit don't stink.
Yeah.
And I will say that I have had the potential to like be that person and not recognizing like where I may fall short at. And that assessment was kind of like taking something very abstract that I was learning and making it very tangible for me. Like, so it's easy for me to check myself. And my clients, one of my clients that I just finished working with, she took the assessment recently. She's my client that just recently made partner, and she runs her business decisions through it. Like, is this level 5? Is this a level 5 or is this a level 2? Have I checked into my default? And so many different opportunities have opened up for her, like the mental clarity that she's been able to gain, the level of peace that she really experiences, and more importantly, like I always tell people, like the world needs more love. Like the additional love that she puts out at this point is like incredible.
Okay, well that's on my list of things to do for the new year, is to get this assessment. I'm like, ooh, child. I might have a little episode. I might do an episode and maybe have you back on to talk about it, but I don't know if I want to feel red. But that's definitely something that I want to know. I just feel like that insight and just having that knowledge of the levels is so valuable, so yeah. But yeah, so I guess we're getting closer to the end of the episode. So I guess just let us know where to find you. And if they wanted to find you, if they wanted to book you for a session or book you to take the assessment, where do we find Miss Raquel?
So I am in transition right now. However, I'll give you my current information because on Instagram and on my website is I am Raquel Hopkins. So RAQUEL Hopkins.com. And that's the same thing for my Instagram, but things are getting ready to convert. And I am opening up my own coaching firm, which is called Success is Complicated. And it's all about elevating you, taking people to the next level. So I'm pretty excited about that. So eventually all of my handles will change, including the website, and I should be launching early next year. So I'm really excited about that.
Yes, I'm excited for you. And, I'll follow you, wherever you go. So, yeah. And I was doing a little snooping, when I was getting the episode together, and I saw you had I think candles and you had some merch. And so
I did. So let me be honest. When I started this thing, I did not know that. I didn't know what I was doing. Let me just say this. I did not know what I was doing. I just was creating. And something told me to get Success is Complicated trademark because I was pacing back and forth in my office when I was still working as VP. And I was like, but I love my job. I got so many perks. Why would you want to leave this? Like the money is good. Family lives well. And then I was like, but I really think that this is my calling on this side. Right. And I was like, this is complicated.
Yeah.
And that's where it came from. And it's this idea that we are all trying to figure it out. No matter where you are in life, I don't care how successful you are. I talk to multimillionaires, CEOs that run in these large organizations. And while people appear to have it all figured out, we're always trying to figure it out because change is constant. It is inevitable. It's going to happen regardless. And people are constantly responding to those things. So that is where Success is Complicated came from. So I'm really excited about it. So when you say the candles and the shirts, I don't have no merch. And the candles I kept them for myself for right now. But I did start selling it at first. But honestly, when I started it, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I want this to be a lifestyle brand. And not saying that it will not turn into that, but honestly, I just started and didn't know what I was doing, Sujuane.
But that's good for the flexors to hear because they think, when you see people, you see that they're successful, you just kind of assume that they had all the answers up front and they just knew, everything looks so great on paper. So it's really good to hear that, hey, sometimes you just have to just create, like you said, just create some shit and see where it takes you. So that was good. So thank you again so much. I am so grateful for you being on here. You have been such a beacon of light, literally in the past, couple months? Has it been a couple months? Yeah. Over 3 months. Yeah. Because you've been with me through my New York journey. So just thank you so much for being here. And
we got the next Dapper Dan, y'all.
Yes, yes. Go ahead and claim it. Claim it.
This girl is creative. She does her makeup. She can braid her hair. She can make you some shoes. She can make you some clothes. She does it all. She has an incredible gift of being creative. And I say an incredible gift because not everybody has the ability to create in the ways that you do, Sujuane. That side of my brain does not work.
Oh, thank you.
And to know that you can draw and do all those things. I just can't wait to see what's next for you. And I'm super excited about you relaunching your podcast and just doing some different stuff. I just can't wait to see where life takes you as you continue to step outside of your box and truly start to understand that a lot of these things are not happening to you, they're happening for you.
Right.
And I'm happy to be along the journey with you.
Yes, I'm happy for you to be right here in my pockets. I need another session. But so you have just some words of wisdom that we can kind of close and give the flexors as we bring this episode to a close?
I would say that there is pain in suffering and in purpose. I mean, there is purpose in suffering and in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Lean in. And the last thing that I would say is, because, like I said, I do get a lot of people that come to me from therapy, and a lot of us say, like, focus on the things that you can control and don't worry about the things that you can't. And I always tell people, if it was that easy to do, everybody would just focus on the things that they can control. But truth
Right,
is,
exactly.
we do worry about the things that we can't control, which is why we struggle. And I tell people that is the perfect opportunity to try and lean into those things. And through leaning into the things that you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you really don't have any control over is where
Mm-hmm.
you start to break that victim mentality, because you start to see that
Mm-hmm.
options, choices, possibilities are available to you.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good, girl. You give me goosebumps. I feel like I got some work to do. So. But once again, thank you so much, Raquel, for being on here. And just really just thank you. And I will see you in my session bright and early on Wednesday. But thank you so much. And hopefully I can have you on again for a future episode.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to support you in any way that I can.
Thank you. All right. Bye.